In plants, three things need to be transported. First is the transport of gases which are taken up by the stomatas or by the lenticels which are present in stem or the roots. From there, they enter into the intercellular spaces and simply diffuse inside the cells. Water is absorbed by the roots of the plant and then taken to higher parts of the plant body. Food we know is manufactured inside the leaves, and from the leaves it has to be taken to each and every part of the plant body. We are starting with the transport of water and minerals which occur with the help of a complex permanent tissue or the vascular tissue called as xylem. Inside the xylem, passive transport takes place, which means that no energy is needed for this transport. Xylem has four components. Out of those four components, only xylem parenchyma is the one which is made up of living cells. Rest all are made up of dead cells. Function of xylem parenchyma is to store food or water, or sometimes it helps in the sideways conduction of water. Xylem fibers simply provide mechanical strength, and the rest two components, that is xylem tracheates and xylem vessels, these two are responsible for the upward movement of water. Tracheates are spindle shaped, they are thicker in the middle, but they are tapering at the ends and lie one over the other, and their tapering ends coincide. So water from one tracheate enter the next tracheate through these coinciding tapering ends. Vessels are cylindrical in shape, and just like the water pipes, they also are joined to each other, and from one vessel water can easily move to the next vessel. We will understand transport of water and minerals with the help of these three steps. First step is absorption of water and minerals. Water is absorbed by the root of the plant, but every part of the root cannot absorb water. It is just the tip of the root that contains tiny structures called as root hairs. Only that part can absorb water. Now, root hair are the epidermal cells which are unicellular and they have a very thin wall. First of all, they take up the ions from the surroundings by using some energy in the form of ATP. These ions can be sodium ions, chloride ions, sulfate ions, nitrate ions, so any type of ions. As a result, a concentrated or a hypertonic solution is formed on the surface of the root hair. Due to this hypertonic solution, water from the surroundings start entering the root hair by the process of osmosis. So from the root hair, then this water enters the cortex and into the endodermis, then it reaches the xylem tissue. From the xylem, now it has to rise in the upward direction, and this is called as ascent of sap. During the ascent of sap, water is taken in the upward direction with the help of two forces. First is the root pressure. As water is constantly entering through the roots, so a pressure is exerted. As a result, water starts rising in the upward direction. But because of root pressure, water cannot gain much height as the force of gravity is pulling it in the downward direction. So there is another force into play which is called as transpiration pull. So let's first understand what transpiration is. It is the constant loss of water through the stomata by the process of evaporation. So while water is being lost through the stomata by the process of evaporation, a partial vacuum is created in the stomata. As a result, a suction pull is called, which causes tension in water. Now there is forces of cohesion between the particles of water, that is they are strongly held and they all move together. So because of those cohesive forces, whole of the water column is pulled up. As a result, water start moving in the upward direction just like a rope of unbroken water column. So we see that transpiration helps to produce a suction pull which pulls the water from the roots to the uppermost part of the plant body. We will see the ascent of sap once again. Water is constantly absorbed from the root hair, which causes the root pressure. As a result, water starts rising up. Then there is loss of water by the transpiration, which creates a suction pull. As a result, water is pulled in the upward direction. So from the bottom, water is pushed upwards by the root pressure. From the top, it is pulled upward by the transpiration pull. So water keeps on moving in the upward direction. Transportation of food in plants is called as translocation. In this process, food is transported in the form of dilute aqueous solution, and it is done with the help of a vascular tissue called as phloem, which collects the food from the leaves where it is manufactured to all the parts of the plant body, which is in the upward direction. as well as in the downward direction. Just like xylem, phloem is also a complex permanent tissue and it is made up of 4 components. These are the cylinder shape sieve tubes, then companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and there is phloem fibers. Out of these 4 components, only phloem fibers are made up of dead cells. Actual transport occurs inside the sieve tubes only, and material from one sieve tube can easily enter the next sieve tube through these sieve pores present inside the sieve plate. Phloem tissue is in close contact with the mesophyll tissue, where photosynthesis is taking place and food is being manufactured. This food is poured directly into the sieve tubes using energy in the form of ATP. When food enters the sieve tube, the solution inside the sieve tube becomes concentrated and hypertonic. As a result, water from the surrounding cells will start entering the sieve tubes. This in turn will increase the pressure inside the sieve tubes, and this solution will start moving from a region of high pressure to the region of low pressure, which can be upward direction or the downward direction. Now, if this food has to be deposited in certain part which is called as sink, then it loses water again and food is stored or deposited in that part. This part can either be fruit or root or any other part also. We will now see the differences in the transport in xylem and phloem. So xylem transport water and minerals while phloem transports food. In xylem, transport is only in one direction, which is the upward direction, and in phloem, transport is in both the directions, upward as well as downward. Transport in xylem occurs with the help of physical forces like root pressure and transpiration, while in phloem, transport occurs with the help of energy in the form of ATP. So now we will be answering this question. Why is transport system in plants slow? Transport system in plants is slow because their energy requirements are very less because of two reasons. They do not move, and number two, they have large number of dead cells that do not need any maintenance. As a result, transport system in plants is slow as compared to animals.